Dying Light 2 is here, and while we all like zombie-infested open worlds, I'm really just here to live out my parkour fantasies.
Parkour!
Anyway, here is 20 tips for Dying Light 2 parkour. We have a TikTok now. Go and check that out. I've been posting tons of shorts on there that you guys will hopefully enjoy. It's very similar to the content that I post here, just obviously shorter. Go and check that out. And also let me know in the comments down below any tips that you have for Dying Light 2 so we can all help each other out. Let's go. Let's start off with leveling and exploration tips. As the game opens up to you, there is a lot to do initially, but your first focus should be on unlocking as many safe zones as possible. There is some fast travel, but it's not unlocked till much later in the game, and you can't really use it to go exactly where you want to. So having the safe houses is the key here. Realistically, the first thing you want to do is start unlocking the safe zones, the windmills. You'll get some valuable parkour points and just have those safe areas that you can return to as often as you like. Your combat and parkour trees will slowly level as you use them. However, if you want to gain double points, you need to explore at night. But if you want to just gain points quickly, the best way to do this is by doing side quests. You can check what the side quest rewards by checking it in the journal or just by checking it on the map. A lot of side quests will offer combat or parkour points for their completion. It's a good way to get a huge buff to them as quickly as possible just by completing some of these. And some of the side quests are as simple as finding resources and just returning them. And that's really easy to do just by actually just, picking up things in the world. As you do pick up stuff, you'll just have these resources with you. There's a couple of quests that I've just been able to turn in just by rocking up, picking up the quest, handing the item in, and then continuing on my way. Anytime you see the GRE access key pop up in the bottom left, you should go and find where that inhibitor is. In some cases, it'll be super easy to grab. Maybe you'll need to unlock a safe, or it'll just be sitting out in the open. In other cases, you'll need to return there at night. Maybe it's in a dark zone. Maybe there's a boss that only spawns at night that allows you to fight it. But you really need to know where these are, because the inhibitors are your primary upgrade path to your health and your stamina, which are directly tied to actually upgrading your combat and parkour trees. As you upgrade them, it will allow you to get some of the better skills in the combat and parkour trees. Upgrade your stamina first for this reason, so that you can unlock more windmills and safe zones for you to use, but it'll also help you get out of trouble easier. Every time you swing your weapon or kick, you use stamina. Every time you're jumping around using your parkour, it uses stamina, and it makes it easier to run away from things, makes it easier to climb, be able to move faster in the world, as well as fight one-on-one when you are actually taking people on. Your immunity to the infection will automatically increase as you upgrade your HP and stamina as well, so you'll be able to spend more time in those dark zones and the chemical zones, but it's pretty easily combated by having some immunity boosters as well as the mushrooms, so that you can keep resetting that bar, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You should be using your binoculars anytime you are at a high location, or especially at windmills. Something that I've tried to get in the rhythm of doing is every time I unlock a windmill, I use my binocular around that area and unlock all of the locations. You want to identify locations that are worth visiting later, but it also lets you know what's around and if there is anything worth coming back at night. If you unlock a windmill, you can then just sleep and then go into that location that's close by. Makes that process of upgrading yourself much quicker. Crafting and mod tips. Vendor all of your gray weapons and all of the valuables, but don't buy weapons and armor. Spend money on new mods and also on upgrading those existing mods that you have. The heal and the lockpick should be the main two you focus on, but upgrading all of these is what you should be focusing on rather than spending your money on weapons and armor, because you will find weapons and armor throughout the world all over the place. Most of the time, the stuff you will find is about the same level as the things you can buy from vendors. It's more better to spend that money on things that are going to give you permanent upgrades. You should be looking at all of the zombie corpses and looting them as you get trophies that you need to upgrade these crafting recipes. Especially if you kill a special zombie, you should be looting them to get the rare infected trophies that you can get. Armor that gives passives is often better than the straight one extra gear score. So you want to focus on sets that are based on your style of play, whether you're playing as a medic, a ranger, a tank, or a brawler. You want to look at what these passive sets give you and then focus on those rather than just getting that extra gear score up one figure and losing all of your passive bonuses that you get. And just sell all of your extra pieces. There isn't anything that you can do with these. You should mod your weapons, but not straight away. Modding a weapon seems to be the only way to repair weapons. When you do add a mod to a weapon, you get 50 durability back. If you do find another way to repair weapons, please let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to see if there is another way, if I'm just completely blind and missing something super obvious. But it's a good way to keep weapons that you really like for longer. But if you do lose a weapon, don't really be worried, because you're going to find weapons everywhere, and often you're going to find weapons that are better than what you've currently got. As you do keep exploring, you keep increasing your gear score or your level, you'll start finding better gear, and you're just going to get a lot of good weapons as you go out into the world. Let's let's talk combat tips. You can chain your vault kicks together. As you land a kick on an enemy, it will stagger them. Then you can initiate another kick and go and kick someone else. So you can just chain these together to move around the battlefield quickly and keep enemies staggered. Use the environment to your advantage. Push enemies into fire, off roofs, into spikes. Same with rooftops and high ground. High ground is the most valuable thing ever since Obi-Wan taught us what it was. It can be critical when fighting big packs of the infested because not all of them can climb, so you can get above them, especially the big brutes, and then just rain death down upon them. Molotovs are the best throwable early on as they don't generate a whole lot of sound. They also deal tons of AoE damage, and it keeps the enemies from getting ganged up on you because they are too worried about the fire that they're on. Use your non-weapon abilities often, like kicking and being able to vault over enemies. You can jump over them to reposition, you can kick enemies, and as you start leveling through the combat and parkour trees, you'll get access to different things that you can start using, like the ground pound. In areas where you need to stealth, when you have to avoid the sleeping infected, you can really just avoid them. You don't have to kill them. In the most cases, they're spread out enough that you don't need to get too close to them. Their yellow bar underneath them will indicate how close they are to waking up, and in the most cases, I've just found you can avoid them. You can take them out, and it just really, gives you a little bit of combat points, but for the most case, they're pretty avoidable as you are exploring when you're stealthing around in those areas. Now let's talk about the dreaded night. Night quests and night runs in general work very similar to the daytime, except here you want to avoid making noise at all costs and stay away from the howlers. If you're unlocking a lot of the safe zones, you should have one close by more or less at all times, and if a chase does start, you can easily escape to one, get under that UV light, and the chase will end and you'll be safe again. UV bars are really great for this. If you do get caught out, you can drop one at your feet. It will spread out the infected around you, and you can really adjust what you need to do. Doing night runs is absolutely essential for leveling up because you gain double combat and parkour points, same as in Dying Light 1, but there are also these new dark zone areas which during the day they are filled with infected, and it's not really advisable to go in there. At night, the infected are spread out so you can sneak in there comfortably and loot all of the valuable resources. It's one of the best ways to get the inhibitor chips, as well as some of the other valuable upgrades that you get by going into these areas at night and looting them free of all of their resources. If you're worried about doing night runs, I would suggest to start doing some of the night quests. They will help you get accustomed to the nightlife, but ultimately there is no downside. Even if you die during the night, you'll lose some of your combat and parkour points that you have gained during that time. However, it's really not that much of a loss. You'll keep everything else, your weapons, armor, etc. Master those fears, get out there, jump in at night, and see how you go. Once you're comfortable, you can start accessing some of the big areas like the GRE facilities that will give you tons of inhibitor chips, as well as bonuses to armor and weapons and just general things that will increase your overall combat ability as well as your parkour ability because of all the bonuses that you'll get. But being a creature of the night is something you should really get accustomed to in Dying Light, and even doing some of the quests that aren't specifically night quests during the night to get the bonuses to the combat and parkour points while you are out exploring, running around, doing things. It's always a good thing to do. UV sites are pretty close by, so you will be able to get away from the enemies if you do get in trouble, but for the most case, you should be fine to avoid them or just drop some UV bars and keep on the run. Please let me know in the comments below any tips that I have missed, any other tips, so you guys can help each other out as well as help me out in this game. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.